In this video, we're going to talk about processing payments in RB9. So to begin, click on Receivables and select Receive Payments. To begin the payment entry process, you're going to click on New at the top right. You're going to have two options here: one check, one invoice, and one check, multiple invoices. For this particular video, we're going to focus on the first option, which is one check, one invoice. So we'll go ahead and click that option. And the first thing you should have to make the process easy is have the invoice number. That makes it the easiest. But you also have the option to look up by job number if you don't have the actual invoice number, so you can select it from there. In my example, I know my invoice number, so I'm going to go ahead and input that number and click search to the right. And that's going to automatically pre-populate the invoice information, as you can see here: invoice date, amount, the balance, and the actual late charge. Notice this particular invoice has a late charge tied to it, but the balance only reflects $140. That's because, RB, we really only make you collect on the principal balance of the invoice, principal amount, excuse me, before the invoice is zeroed out. Because some clients do not pay late charges or finance charges, so we won't leave that as an outstanding receivable if they don't pay that amount. Now, coming down to the bottom, you're going to notice the payment information. So here you'll have payment type. It can be check, credit card, electronic payment, whatever it's going to be. In this case, we'll leave it as check. Transaction date will default to today, and the payer is going to automatically default to the bill to firm. If I needed to change that, I could. In my example, I'm going to leave it the same. Okay. And we can see if there's a retainer tied to the firm or not, so we're not going to worry about that. And we can enter our check number. Now for the amount, we automatically default the amount to be the actual invoice balance, which is $140. So if the client only paid the principal balance of the $140, I can leave this the same and just continue on. But if they did pay the late charge, which would be the $140 plus the $14, I would need to change this amount to $154 to say they paid everything. And then I can set my check date. Let's just say it was yesterday. And I can say if the check was made by, if necessary, but I don't really need to do that since I know the payer is Berg Center Chapman. Maybe I might do this if, maybe third party was paying, and then it was an insurance company, something like that, okay? Now coming down to the bottom section here, this is where you're going to apply all of the check amount to the invoice. So basically what we must do is we must make sure that $154 is accounted for. So in our example, RB tries to credit the maximum amount it can of the actual invoice balance. So remember, the invoice amount was $140, so it adds that. But we know that there's a $14 late charge. So if they paid $14 late charge, then I would add the 14 here. So that makes it so that if we add 140, that is crediting here, plus the 14, that's going to credit a total of $154. So this transaction will balance out perfectly. You must make sure that there is no unapplied amount just kind of floating around. So if maybe the amount would have been 155 here, and I only credited 154 total down here so far, that means they would have overpaid me $1, and I could have put $1 here instead. But I'm not going to do that. We don't need to. So in this example, this one balances out perfectly. We'll go ahead and click save and new if I wanted to do another payment, or save and close. Once we return back to the main payment screen, I always like to click search, kind of see what's going on here. And you can kind of see what transactions you actually have that have not been posted yet. And never forget to post when you're done. Usually you can do this at the end of the day or when you make your deposit. You don't need to do it every single time that you enter a payment. I would probably come in here at the end of the day and check off which invoices you want to post and simply click post. And once you do that, it'll return a message that'll say operation was successful.